Where does Jesus say, I am God, worship me? The quick answer is nowhere, right? Nowhere in the Bible does it actually say explicitly that Jesus is God. We're going to break down the answers that you can give when somebody is bringing this objection towards you, or even just asking this out of curiosity. The quickest place that you can go to is John chapter 8, verse 58. This is Jesus having a dialogue with the religious leaders, and they're questioning where his authority comes from. And he tells them, very truly, I tell you, before Abraham was, I am. So this statement, it being present tense, Jesus saying, I am, this is actually a callback to when God reveals his divine name to Moses in the burning bush scene in Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, where he says, I am who I am. So here explicitly, Jesus is using that divine name, I am, which is where we get the tetragrammaton, YHWH, or Yud-He Vav-He, which translates to the name Yahweh or Jehovah. This is probably the closest place we actually have where Jesus is basically saying, I am God. Where do we get this from in Christianity in general? It's the prophecies that are fulfilled in the Old Testament. It's the ontological attributes that are applied to Jesus, right? So attributes that can only be applied to God. And we actually have this example here in Hebrews, in the book of Hebrews. This is the next place that you can take them. So when somebody gives you this question, I am God, worship me, you can take them to Hebrews chapter 1, verse 8. And so we see here that the author of Hebrews actually quotes Psalm 45, verses 6 through 7, and attributes to God the Father saying this about the Son. But of the Son, he says, your throne, O God, is forever and ever, and the scepter of uprightness is the scepter of your kingdom. So this is actually where we see the Father explicitly call the Son God. And further down in verse 10, we see ontological attributes belonging to God also being applied to Jesus by God the Father. It says, and you, Lord, in the beginning founded the earth, and the heavens are the works of your hands. So here the author quotes Psalm 102, and these are attributes saying that you founded the earth, you founded the heavens. Who else founded the earth and the heavens? It would be blasphemous to say if anybody else but God founded the earth or the heavens. Another ontological example that you can take them to, and by the way, when I'm doing this, I want you to have the Bible out, especially because in this dialogue, you're going to be probably doing it with someone who is at least interested in the scriptures in some way, shape, or form, right? So a Jehovah's Witness or a Muslim, they actually believe that the Bible is authoritative in some way, shape, or form. And then let's say, for example, you're speaking to somebody who is just curious, right? You should open up the Bible and you should take them to these passages, right? And so the next one would be in Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 through 17. For by him all things were created that are in heaven and that are on earth. He is before all things. He is the creator of all things, and he is also the sustainer of all things. Who sustains creation? Who is before the beginning of time? Who created everything? Again, it would be blasphemous to say anybody else but God did these things. And these are attributes that are applied to Jesus. You can also just literally turn the page and go to chapter 2, and you can show them where it says, for in him all the fullness of deity dwells bodily. Explicitly, the fullness of God dwells within Jesus.